professionals, and conversations with families navigating their own healthcare journeys. Now, here is our host, Andrea Richmond.
Good morning. Have you heard the words, it's cancer? And it's not you, it's your child or loved one. I'm Andrea Richmond, anchor woman here at Love Beyond the Diagnosis, author of memoir Love Beyond Scope, and founder of the Courage Bear Project. Here we broadcast hope and dial into real stories after the cancer diagnosis. You'll find encouragement, storytelling, and educational support, conversations with moms who know firsthand life beyond the diagnosis, dialogue from leading voices who are making an impact on the standard of care for pediatric cancers. You also find resources rooted in faith to help you breathe, rise, and thrive in the middle of it all, because mama, you are not alone. I'm Andrea Richmond, and this is Love Beyond the Diagnosis, a space for mothers who have just stepped into the unimaginable. If you've missed an episode, be sure to go check us out on Instagram at Love Beyond the Diagnosis, on YouTube at Love Beyond the Diagnosis, and follow us on the CourageBearProject.com. Like and follow me on my Facebook page for updates as I continue to post more information and updates on my mission to serve mothers, caregivers, and their children navigating life beyond the diagnosis. So in the next 13 weeks of Love Beyond the Diagnosis, I am interviewing moms who know firsthand what it is to navigate life after having a child diagnosed with cancer. And today, we are opening a conversation that lives in the intersection of love and courage. When a mother hears the words, your child has cancer, life shifts in an instant into this unthinkable situation. And when this happens, plans change, priority changes, and life rearranges into a new kind of strength begins to arise in these mothers. And I have our guest today, a mother who has walked the road. She carries her own story, and I am so honored to be interviewing her today. She has a story of resilience, faith, and fierce love that holds families together in their most fragile moments. This isn't simply a story about illness. It's a story about humanity, about grace under pressure, about what it means. Oh, I got reverb.
She needs to shut off her.
We're having a little technical issue. Can you shut off your speakers?
And listen.
Yeah.
Do you have headphones? Oh, she doesn't have headphones.
I can run up and get some.
Oh, that's better. We're good. Wherever you're at right now, it's working.
Okay.
All right. So this isn't simply a story about illness. This happens when we're live on the radio. So all these things are good. We know there are much bigger problems, right? And so Taylor is here. She's joining me, and let's welcome her. We get to step into her story today and find out just how she has navigated life beyond the diagnosis to shine the light of love into a story where her son was diagnosed with cancer. And not that long ago, I spoke with her on the phone when she was pretty close to not too far into the diagnosis. So I'll let Taylor, I'll let you join the stage here. And Taylor, let's start with, how did your journey start? Tell our audience a little bit about your story.
So thank you for having me, Andrea. My story, gosh. So Lev was 2.5 when he got sick. And I had just had my daughter in July, and my husband had gone back to work. And she was about 4 weeks old when he went back. And Lev all of a sudden just started getting really clingy, wanted up all the time. He had a couple of swollen lymph nodes that I didn't really think much of and had touched base with our pediatrician about. And I thought he was just jealous of the new baby. And we all got hit with a virus, and Lev just was not kicking it. He was just really lethargic. He would get down to the bottom of the driveway and say, "Mommy, I want to go home. I'm tired." And we went on a play date with my really good friend who has 7 children. And I just looked around, and he was just yellow. And I looked at her and I was like, does he look sickly to you? And she was like, "Taylor, he doesn't look good." And I said out loud, kind of jokingly, because I truly didn't think it could be true. And I said, "He looks like a little cancer kid." And she was like, I would call your doctor." So we went in, and she took one look at him and got him directly admitted to our hospital. When we got there, he was in heart failure. His hemoglobin was so low, he needed 5 blood transfusions, and he was compensating so well. I was so surprised that they told me his hemoglobin was that low. And I just looked at them and I was like, "Well, is there like a bleed somewhere? Like, what do you mean?" And this sweet little first-year resident, who was her first day on peds, came in, and she was just like, "We think there's some neoplastic activity." And I'm a nurse, and I hadn't heard that word since nursing school, but I knew what it meant. And I just looked at her and I was like, "You need to say it. You need to say it." And she was like, "We think your son has cancer." And the ice that went through both me and my husband's veins was palpable. I mean, our lives are completely marked by before that moment and after that moment now. And so those first few days were a whirlwind. We got told that he had to go to PICU immediately, and that because we were entering cold and flu season, that we couldn't bring our daughter with us. And so she was 8 weeks old at the time that he got diagnosed. And so kind of got ripped out of that like sweet postpartum bubble with her. And we're fighting for Lev's life. And we were in PICU for 7 days, and everything was just so disoriented is the best word I have for it. We just all felt so disoriented, coming to grips with a new reality. I mean, I remember crying out to God saying, like, "Lord, please don't let this be true. Please let his bone marrow biopsy come back surprisingly negative. Please, like, clear his body of any cancer." And the Lord just so gently and tenderly was like, "This is the road you're walking. Like, this is the hand you're dealt right now, and I'm going to walk you through it. And my mercies are new for you every morning, and you're going to rely completely on me for it." And so yeah, that's kind of the beginning of our story.
Yeah, which it is an amazing just to watch you talk about these moments and understand that transition from the chaos and then walking into the trust, right?
Mhm.
And who to trust in this journey. And I admire your strength as from the moment I talked to you first on the phone, 10 months ago or so. And so I want for our audience, like, to early in that journey, maybe can you walk us through some of those emotions that have changed over time, and talk about maybe how Lev in this journey has taught you about courage and resilience and the joy that can emerge while you're living in such an incredible space and of unknowns, right?
Yeah. So I had to quickly decide if I was going to be a slave to my emotions or if my emotions didn't dictate reality. Because when I sit in fear and what ifs and, you know, contemplate all of the complications and the risks and the what are my options and what are the outcomes of this if I give him this, it becomes very heavy and scary. And when you sit in that fear, when I sat in that fear, I was stepping outside the refuge that the Lord had promised me and the healing that he had promised me, because he did promise me that he would completely heal Lev. I had to come to the realization very quickly that that healing could mean that he takes him to heaven and that that healing is not here on earth. And so wrestling with those big emotions early on was hard and tricky. And the concept of surrender was huge on my heart. And, I was, I was saved when I was 14. I've been a Christian for a long time. And I was, raising my hand on Sundays, worshiping God, saying, yeah, God, you have my all, you have my everything. Like, take it. Like, everything I have is yours. And I didn't understand how dangerous of a prayer that was, but how necessary it is to follow Jesus. And the Lord really showed me what that could look like. And it has deepened my faith and strengthened my faith in ways that I can't even explain. But he took all of those scary emotions and told me, like, you're not a slave to them. Like, I give you grace for your reality. I give you grace for the situation you're in. I don't give you grace for the what if your child dies or the what if he relapses. I don't give you grace for that because that's not your reality right now. And so learning to take my emotions, take my thoughts captive and make them obedient to the Lord has been a huge lesson for me. And my emotions have shifted. I can very quickly pinpoint now where the enemy tries to weasel his way in and plant seeds of doubt and fear and distrust, and rebuke those and pray over them, which is a huge blessing. As far as Lev teaching me courage and hope, oh my goodness. He rides his bike, his balance bike, into chemo every single time. And he has his little bell and all the nurses know when he's coming because he just dings his bell down the hall.
Yes.
And it's so precious. And he is so stinking strong. Like, worry does not exist for him. That's not something that is in his vocabulary. He does not, when he gets his port accessed, he just sits there and he cries sometimes, but once it's over, he's like, can I have some Play-Doh now? Like, he does not linger on or sit in or, wallow in all that's happening to him. And I think that's a lesson that I've learned, like, from him so much, is he doesn't have pity on himself. Like,
The spirit of a child.
Yeah. And
Yes.
you told me when we talked, like, he's your child before he's your child with cancer. And that really was a pivotal moment for me of, like, because when you have a child diagnosed with cancer, they quickly become your child with cancer. And everything surrounds that identity, so to speak, of, like, are they going to get sick if they go to the store? Are they going to, how are their platelets when they're playing at the park? Like, all of these things. And it's like, he's just a child first, and he loves to be a 3-year-old boy and jump off things and ride his bike. And he's just taught me so much about courage and hope and faith too, because he just has this really sweet connection with the Lord and just tells me that God healed him. And it's just really sweet.
Yes, those are so many nuggets of wisdom on your journey that you're sharing with others. And I just commend you and thank you for, telling us all and sharing with us today some of these moments in your story that are meant to be put into the world for others to understand at your faith and trusting in Jesus and making that walk. We all know that it's an everyday obedience, right? And it can change daily. We can have our days where, there's other things that are trying to drive our life, but knowing that we can surrender some of those negative, thoughts, whether it's blame or shame or guilt or worry, never letting fear, of course, ever be in that driver's seat in our life, regardless of our situation, and really trusting in all circumstances is what I hear in your voice today, Taylor. And it's so enlightening to hear. It's so much light. And so, we know during this time that routines can change and relationships and that sense of normal can shift after the diagnosis. Can you share with the audience some ways that you were able to maintain some stability in your home? I mean, I've had the honor of like watching you from day one, and so just to share, with people listening today, like, what are some things that help with that routine?
Well, from early on, it was very clear how the Lord prepared us and our community for Lev's diagnosis. And it's something I'll never get over. Like, I had to close my small business down when Lev first got sick. But the Lord had prepared me by letting me be a stay-at-home mom and having a small business that I could operate out of my home. He prepared our community. My dearest friends are chiropractors and naturopathic providers, and there's not a single need that we have had that I haven't been able to say, I'm going to call so-and-so about this. Every single need of ours has been met. And the Lord has just prepared our hearts for it, even though we didn't know what that was for. Right.
Right.
So looking at like routines, I mean, everything changed, but at the same time, I was already staying home. And so I got to just rest in being a stay-at-home mom a little bit deeper, and my life surrounding hospital appointments and lab checks and chemo days and all of those things, I was just in such deep gratitude that I got to be there, and I wasn't shuffling around like, oh, I need to call into work or I need to figure this work thing out. I was able to just shut my business down to focus on Lev.
Is there anything specifically that helped you? There's a lot of talk out there with gratitude and, whether it's writing things down or just speaking every day, positive into yourself, right? Is there anything like any practice in particular that helped you be grateful? And gratitude brings joy, right? That's the result or the product of gratitude is joy in the circumstance, in any circumstance.
Yeah, I think I'm not much of like a journaler or a drawer or anything like that. I think the thing that helped me the most was being rooted in God's word first, and then reading. I love reading. So reading books about suffering, like, what does it mean to suffer as a Christian? Why is it a blessing? And how does it honor God when we walk through suffering with a servant's heart? So writers like Elizabeth Elliot, Charles Spurgeon, Dane Ortland wrote a book called Gentle and Lowly that was fantastic for me during the initial diagnosis. So just saturating myself in God's word every single day. The world wants to tell us that like good people shouldn't suffer. Like, you did all this good, so you shouldn't suffer. But the actual Bible is a completely different message. We are to count all trials as joy. We're to find joy in all of our circumstances, regardless of if it's suffering or not. And then another thing that helped me was viewing everything I did, every decision I made as an act of worship to the Lord, whether that was, changing a diaper or doing the dishes or cooking Lev the 7th bowl of organic mac and cheese that day because he was on steroids. Instead of getting frustrated with my circumstance, it was an offering to the Lord. This is my worship to you. This is my pouring out to you. Help my mindset here to be one of gratitude. And there were days where I wasn't feeling super grateful, like, to be completely honest. And there are still days that happens, but the Lord in his mercy and his kindness shows me that he saved my son, and he gave him life, and he spared him. And for those things alone, I can choose to have a worshipful attitude and not wallow in my woe is me, my son has cancer. Like, there are people that have it 1,000 times worse. And ALL is one of those things where it's so hard. It's so hard. But thankfully the prognosis is decent. And yeah. So anyways, it's
Yeah, I
the
agree.
mindset
Right?
shift.
Yeah, keeping that and none of us know the outcome on day one. None of us know the outcome, but
Yeah.
on that journey, maintaining that those fruits of the spirit, the kindness, the joy, like in the suffering. I
Yeah.
mean, everything that you are saying today is so, Taylor, is just so amazing to see the light of the Lord shining in your circumstance, your unexpected circumstance. And I, I was looking on your Facebook page, and some of the community members, I'd love to have you talk about like how the community around you has risen up, and some of those gifts that you're now looks like you're receiving, and that are more of this world, but they're a connection to community. And
Mhm.
just I love some of the ideas that I've saw just by connecting with you and seeing like some of the acts of kindness that can come and be in the spirit of joy, right?
Mhm.
So can you tell the audience a little bit about those things that the community has risen up to do for your family, and give
Yeah.
give others like share these ideas, because I think that it's wonderful.
Yeah. Our community is the complete embodiment of the fruits of the spirit. And I mean, their love and joy and peace and patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, and gentleness and self-control is something that has been completely unwavering. From day one, we have never had to eat hospital food. Every time we've been inpatient, friends of ours have rallied together to cook us food so we could have home cooked meals, which is something that's really important to me. And there's not been, like I said earlier, there's not been a need that we've had that has not been met. I had to get really comfortable with asking for help, which was uncomfortable for me. But I had to get comfortable with saying, hey, we're going to the hospital for a port infection. Can you please make us some food tonight? Or can you please take out our trash? Or can you mow our lawn? Or whatever the need was. Our local church has been helpful with that. And there have been fundraisers done for Lev that have blessed us so immensely with medical bills and things that have arose, like needs that he's had that maybe insurance didn't cover. There have been organizations that have blessed us monetarily and with just things that bring him joy, to bring light into a dark circumstance. And that, I mean, yeah, our community has just been fantastic, whether it's, checking in on me with a Bible verse or a song, or just saying, hey, do you want to go for a walk? Like, all of those things matter and they mean a lot to me.
Did I see a cornhole tournament?
Yes. Oh my goodness. Lev wears that cornhole tournament shirt every single day. It's his favorite shirt. And what's crazy about that, Andrea, is it was complete strangers. And this mother whose daughter had ALL 9 years ago, their small town community put on this cornhole fundraiser for her daughter. And then every year since she's been done with treatment, April has continued to choose one child locally in the community every year to support and choose for this cornhole tournament. And so Lev was selected because friends of ours go every year. And Lev was selected to be the beneficiary for this cornhole tournament. And it blessed us so much that we won't have medical bills this year, which is incredible. And I got up, they asked me to say a few words about Lev, and I got up there and just started crying because I looked out and I was like, none of you know us. All of you are strangers, and you came here to bless a family walking through the unimaginable because of your goodness and your, gentleness and your kindness. And that was really overwhelming. Like, you will see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living during a situation like this. And I know that to be true.
Awesome. So for our last question here, if another mother just received childhood cancer diagnosis in her child, what encouragement or wisdom would you want to share most with her on day one?
I read this quote from Elizabeth Elliot that said, in the context of suffering, you do the next right thing. That's all you need to do is the next right thing, whether that's fold a basket of laundry or have a phone call with the oncologist or cuddle with your baby. Just do that next right thing. That's all you need to do, and saturate yourself in the word. Like, there's nothing that's going to bring peace to your soul and a balm to your heart like saturating yourself in God's word. And the other thing I would say is, I was reading Mary's account of, I think it was in Luke, where the birth story of Jesus, and it said that she treasured these things in her heart. And I just want to offer the encouragement that the Lord is going to give you the ability to treasure these things in your heart in a brand new way that you will never take for granted again, because every moment you have with your child after they're diagnosed with cancer is such a treasure and is so precious. And it makes the hard days a blessing.
Yes. Thank you, Taylor, so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Andrea.
Have shined so much of the light of the Lord into the cancer diagnosis, which is love beyond the diagnosis. So our anchors for today is, Mama, you are not walking this road alone, even when the journey feels isolating. Our second anchor of hope is that light still finds its way in. And our third anchor of hope is your love is a life-giving force. The love you carry for your child, fierce and steady, unwavering, is a source of strength that cannot be taken away. So if today's conversation has touched your heart, if you've listened and thought, I wish there was something I could do to help a mother walking this road, there is. The Courage Bear Project is more than a gift. It's a lifeline of hope. Each Courage Bear sent to a family comes with words of encouragement, access to supportive community resources, and compassionate mentoring for mothers who often feel unseen and overwhelmed. When you sponsor Courage Bear, you're not just sending a bear. I invite you to visit CourageBearProject.com to sponsor a bear, honor a family, or learn how your support can bring comfort, connection, and hope to a mother who needs it today. Together, we can wrap families in courage, one bear, one heart, one story at a time. For now, it's Love Beyond the Diagnosis.
Andrea Richmond Radio
See you
Show
next
has
week.
been brought to you by Andrea Richmond and Other Side Publishing. Tune in on Tuesday mornings at 8:30 for more on Love Beyond the Diagnosis.
TalkHearing.com is WCTL